170-degree water, creating what's called a mash. It's got the consistency of like porridge. What that does is it activates the natural enzymes in the barley and causes them to start breaking down the starch into simple sugars. So you're left with basically a sugar water material. And then we rinse that grain with hot water to rinse all of the sugars out. That liquid is transferred into our brew kettle, where we fill it up to about 500 gallons. That liquid is boiled for an hour and a half, and hops are added at several different time points. The early hop additions give the beer its bitterness. The later hop additions give it its aromatics. So today he's brewing our double bubble, so it's just a large amount of,
nice.
of hops. And those are going right down the drain right now. It's a very labor-intensive brew because we fill the mash tun all the way up here with barley, so it's absolutely packed, so we can get as much sugar as we possibly can. And then we add a ridiculous amount of hops to the boil, and then we add 150 pounds of honey, just pictured in there, so that we can bump up the alcohol to about 9% on that one. So we pump the wort through this little guy. This is our heat exchanger. Let's move over this way, so because there's going to be hot liquids coming out that way, and you guys have nice shoes. So that heat exchanger cools the 212 degree beer down to 73 degrees immediately. We also add oxygen at this time point, which helps the yeast cells in replication, building strong cell walls. That beer is then transferred into one of these fermenters. This is 1,000 gallons. The kettle is 500, so we do 2 brews a day. We're generally doing about 3-4 brews a week. We brew every time there's an empty tank. So with the first batch comes the addition of yeast. We add about 15 gallons of fresh yeast that we harvest from a previously brewed beer. It takes the yeast cells about 3 days to consume all the sugars, and we weigh the density of the beer at that point to determine how much residual sugar there is remaining in the beer. Some beers we want to have a little sweeter finish to them. Others ones we want to ferment all the way out so they're a little drier. When the fermentation is done, we crash cool these tanks. These have an inside and an outside jacket. In between them there's glycol lines. Actually a glycol jacket, which is a food grade coolant. Runs at 30 degrees and can crash the temperature of the tank from 73 to 32, 33 degrees in 36, 48 hours. That causes all the yeast to drop out of solution and make a nice yeast bed at the bottom of the cone. We harvest that yeast for the next batch that we brew.
What do you do when you switch types of beers? Do you keep that
all of our ales are brewed with our house yeast.
Okay.
Yep. We've tried different ones with different yeasts, and we really just prefer. We had our yeast designed for us, or actually we designed it, and its culture is maintained in a laboratory in Oregon. So it's kind of ties a lot of our beers together, and it really gives them a Rush River feel. If we want to get experimental in the future, we will do that. But as I said, we're just having trouble keeping up at this point. Moving this way. This is fermentation in progress. the yeast eats sugars, and it produces as a byproduct CO2 and alcohol. The magic to beer. And it's absolutely an undersung component of the brewing process, because it is responsible for a lot of the flavor profiles that you get in beer. So we have fermented beer, we've clarified it, then we need to transfer it into a conditioning tank where we'll carbonate it and dry hop some of our beers, which is the addition of post-fermentation hops. One tank is here. This is the one that's being used for kegging. And then we have 4 2,000-gallon tanks in the cold room, which are twice as big as these. So we transfer 2 of these into the cold room into one tank. We also bottle off of those tanks as well. This is our state-of-the-art bottling line. We kind of just put it together from lots of different breweries and equipment that we found throughout the country. These 2 machines, this is a 6-pack erector, just takes 6 packs and pops them open. This is a case erector, glues the bottom of cases. These both came from Summit. So, pretty simple procedure. Put a pile of bottles on here. You push one row at a time onto the conveyor belt. It goes through a quick rinser. These are all new bottles, so they just get a quick sterile rinse with water. And then through this yellow machine, which is our bottle filler. This is like 1950s, but it's been totally rebuilt, and it does about 150 bottles a minute. So
Is that a hand vacuum?
that is a leaf blower. Hand vacuum, no. That is that's a state-of-the-art bottle dryer.
Bottle dryer right there.
Yep, absolutely. So this machine spins, and it fills the bottle as it spins around. Then it comes off here, it gets a little squirt of sterile water, which causes the beer to foam up, and then you slap a cap on it so you don't have any oxygen in that little space on top of your beer. Comes around here, gets a quick rinse here, and then a nice dryer. There, yeah. It's a loud thing to have going on. This is the labeler. This is 1930s technology. I run this machine and am responsible for all those crooked labels.
How do you,
Everyone knows and loves.
Yep. What's that?
who's your maintenance staff? Wow.
Me. And we do everything ourselves. Now the great thing about this machine is, it's not computer operated, and it's actually something that you can wrench on. Unfortunately, the company that built them burned down, and with it all the specifications for all the parts. So every part has to be duplicated by hand. But it can keep up. It can do probably 200 bottles a minute. So it's good old world technology. The World Tandem Labeler. And you see a lot of these same machines. Oh yeah, duct tape and rubber bands. That's your. If one of them's not gripping the neck or the body, throw on a little duct tape and some rubber binders. Yeah, that cures it. But yeah, it's been a real learning process because owning a brewery is just not making beer. You have to keep all these machines running, and that's the real trick because there's something that breaks every day. So that in a nutshell is our little brewery. Then we have about 5 or 6 college guys down on the end there packing cases as it accumulates on that table. No shortage of help there. Yeah, we sent them home with all the short fills and the crooked labels and the uncapped bottles.
You found your error rate shot through the roof the second you hired college students?
No, actually, it's been slowly dwindling. So they're getting less and less beer to take home. That's all right.
That's unfortunate.
That's good for me. What's that? How do I fill my kegs? Oh, I should have shown you that. He's washing kegs right now. That's our.
Job you had for
Yeah, absolutely.
Small X.
I've washed thousands and thousands. What's that?
Small X.
Small X. I've washed thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of kegs. I like the job. You just turn your brain off, you pump the music, and it's really an easy place for me to be. Right now, though, that job is going to be replaced soon. I don't know if you saw that nice new shiny piece of machinery over there. We just got a German kegging machine, which will turn a 2-day job into a KHS machine over here.
What is it?
2-day job into a 3-hour job. You just take a dirty keg and move it to one station, it cleans it, sanitizes it. You move it to another station, it purges the ambient air with CO2, and so pretty slick. That is Dan Chang's drum set. but I've never heard him play it. It's just kind of
I thought it was like
it's there for when we get the
finishing of a run.
Yeah.
We're done.
Like a new idea.
yeah.
Play the drums.
Now let's wait for us
shot.
to start our reggae band. Hey, let's get some beers here. Double bubble. Boom. For Pete's sake, a little less yapping,
Did you taste it
a
all?
little more tapping.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Yeah, where is it? Come on.
Did you taste it all?
Do I taste it?
I did. Great taste, Midwest, I saw that.
I didn't go myself. The brewery went. Yes. Yeah, we were there. I get. He's talking about the great taste of the Midwest, which is the biggest beer bonanza going in this neck of the woods. It's like 7,000 people this year.
Wow, where was that held?
It's in Madison every year.
You don't know how to drink beer in Madison, last I checked.
I can't imagine going to school there. It's just
No.
like bar, bike shop,
54
bar,
yeah,
sub
54
shop, bar,
bars.
Most people
bike
go
shop,
there.
skateboard shop,
I
bar.
was there
Nutrient
for
store.
homecoming when I was in college. They had 54 bars on State Street.
Yeah, yeah.
Every single one of them was full. We couldn't get in a
I know
single
it.
bar.
I know
On
it.
homecoming.
I know.
You couldn't get. We had to wait to get into like Jimmy John's to get a or Buffalo Wild Wings to get a beer. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not like the number of bars is
Insane.
creating a shortage of clients.
That's really good. That's a little
This is the
citrusy.
double bubble. This is they measure bitterness units in IBUs. This is 100 IBUs, which means it has a shitload of hops in it.
Yeah.
But it's not super harsh on the tongue
Yeah. I was saying, it doesn't
because
seem as-
of the copious amounts of honey. Really balance it out.
okay.
I don't
It's
like
different than
the
Bubble
really,
Jack.
really injuring double IPAs. You need to smooth it out some way. And also the fact that we are unfiltered kind of smooths and rounds out the finish on most of our beers.
I don't think I've ever seen this in bottles, man.
Yep. It exists in your finer liquor stores.
So how do you guys distribute?
We've got, I think, 10, 12 distributors from St. Cloud in the west to Madison in the east, and from Duluth down to Rochester.
Okay.
So that's our small little footprint as of today. The outer edges get horribly ignored. We just have not had any time, because Dan and I were the only brewers until we just brought on Brett 4 weeks ago. So.
Where's Brett from?
Brett is a friend of ours, actually. He went to St. Olaf as well. He's a friend of Dan's.
When did you guys graduate?
Dan graduated in '95, and I graduated in '97.
Okay.
And Brett graduated in '97. So he's never brewed professionally. He's a fanatic home brewer, and he's doing well. So that means that we hopefully will have some more time to get out in the market and sell. But if you can't make it, you really shouldn't sell it either. So it's a circle. We're catching up. The way you grow, as I said, you just got to keep ordering tanks and adding more tanks.
Capacity.
This building is 10,000 square feet, and we have the capacity to build another building onto this same size. So we're poised for growth. Our cold room is already a horrible, tight zone. It's already way too small.
When did you guys move over here? I'm sorry, so
07. Yep.
before that, the size of the whole brewery was the size of your
Yeah.
cold room? Is that
Yeah,
what
let's
it
go walk through that.
I can use a dip in the cold room.